Hi again and welcome! Today we will talk about Lonis Genetics Expert. We built a high-power deck on a budget. This is a commander that released with MTG Clue Edition and we got it from our box and decided to give it a shot. This ended up being a happy surprise as Lonis is a very powerful and resilient fast deck with lots and lots of synergies you can use and abuse. Lonis is a mix between a classic Simic value engine, +1/+1 counters, and an artifact deck. This deck is a high-power deck, but not with all of the classic staples as we built the deck on a budget. Although, even on a budget, the deck ended up performing very well. There are also CDH versions of this commander, but we will not focus on these builds. Our main goal is to create clues and put +1/+1 counters on creatures, so without any further delays, let's begin. Lonis is a 3-mana hybrid Simic commander with the following text. Evolve. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature has greater power or toughness than this creature, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on Lonis, investigate that many times. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature you control. Note that Lonis cannot put a +1/+1 counter on itself whenever you sacrifice a clue. However, we can avoid this restriction to try to get as much value as possible from him. For this we have Spark Double and Double Major, but more on these later. Also note that it's whenever you sacrifice a clue, Lonis doesn't care how you sacrifice the clue. It can be to draw cards with the normal clue ability of paying 2 mana to sacrifice and draw, but it can also trigger with any artifact sack outlet. For clue synergy and creating we have Dugan, Private Detective, Erdwall, Illuminator, Ethereal Investigator, Graph Mole, Kellen, Inquisitive Prodigy, Lonis, Cryptozoologist, Piper Wright, Public Reporter, Sharp-Eyed Rookie, Tangle Trove Kelp, Tireless Tracker, Sharp-Eyed Rookie. Academy Manufacturer is extremely powerful in the deck as our commander can produce a lot of clues per turn, and this way we are able to create clues, treasures and food tokens. Also, Tamiyo's Journal, a repeatable tutor and as such is also very powerful. For +1/+1 counter synergy and mana dorks we have Birds of Paradise, Cryptic Trilobite, Evolution Sage, Extruder, Gyre Sage, Phantom Mage, Incubation Druid, Kami of Whispered Hopes, Master Biomancer, Sage of Hours, Tyrant Guard, Spike Drone, Unruly Grasses, Increasing Savagery, Ozolith the Shadow Spire, Hardened Scales, and Doubling Season that also helps with clues. For artifact synergy we have Extruder, Fabricate, Urza Lord High Artificer, Krak Clan Ironworks, Inspiring Statuary, Grinding Station, Basalt Monolith, Tarian Soul Cleaver, Tezzeret the Seeker, and Clan Crafter. We also need to have some protection interaction to save our commander and for our plan to come to fruition, so we are running Heroic Intervention, Inspiring Call, Snakeskin Veil, Slip Out the Back, Repulsive Mutation, Tamiyo's Safekeeping, Void Slime, Rapid Hybridization. Lastly, we also need to have some tutors as the deck is a lot of incidental combos. It would be harder to do a deck without any combos when using Lonis Genetics Expert as your commander as he is so easy to break, sometimes even by mistake. So for tutors we run Worldly Tutor, Neoform, Reshape, Fabricate, Trophy Mage, Drift of Phantasms, and Tezzeret the Seeker. If after talking about these cards you are noticing this deck also looks like Kinnan, it's because it is. It doesn't play the same way, but as they are both Simic value decks at heart, it is normal that they have some cards in common. Now, how do we win? You have combos and alternative WinCons, and if that doesn't work you can always smack them down with a gigantic Lonis. So first let's talk about some combos. The main combos, and then depending on cards that you add to that main combo, it will change what the combo does. Step 1. Building the engine. The main combos are Lonis Genetic Expert plus Extruder, Lonis Genetic Expert must be on the battlefield. Extruder must be on the battlefield. You control at least one additional artifact. You activate Extruder by sacrificing another artifact. If the artifact was a clue, Lonis' second ability triggers, putting a +1/+1 counter on another creature you control, in this case it can be Extruder. Then, resolve the Extruder ability, putting a +1/+1 counter on Lonis. Lonis' first ability triggers, creating a clue artifact token. Then, you can use that clue artifact token to sacrifice for Extruder's ability again, creating a loop. This will result in infinite +1/+1 counters on Lonis and all of your creatures. Another engine you can build is Basalt Monolith and Phoresic Gadgeteer. Basalt Monolith must be on the battlefield. Phoresic Gadgeteer must be on the battlefield. Activate Basalt Monolith's first activated ability by tapping it, adding 3 colorless mana. Activate Basalt Monolith's last ability by paying 2 and tapping it. Repeat, resulting in infinite colorless mana. Another infinite mana combo we added to the deck is Vigian Graph Mage plus Incubation Druid. Vigian Graph Mage must be on the battlefield. Incubation Druid must be on the battlefield, does not have Summoning Sickness, and has at least one +1/+1 counter on it. You control a land that can produce blue mana. Activate Incubation Druid's first ability by tapping it, adding 3 blue mana. Activate Vigian Graph Mage by paying 1 and a blue and tapping Incubation Druid. Repeat, resulting in infinite mana. Now that we have the engine running, we need to add modifiers. So here are some examples of what you can do with the deck. As a disclaimer, I am sure there are more interactions on the deck that combo, but we forgot to mention. If that's the case, you can leave it on the comment section below. Some variations on the engines are Lonis, Extruder, and Academy Manufacturer will result in infinite +1/+1 counters, infinite life, infinite mana, and infinite draw. Lonis and Extruder and Sage of Hours will result in infinite +1/+1 counters and infinite turns. Lonis, Extruder, and Graph Mole will result in infinite +1/+1 counters and infinite life. Lonis, Therian Soul Cleaver, and Crack Clan Ironworks will result in infinite +1/+1 counters and infinite colorless mana. Lonis, Spark Double, and Clark Clan Ironworks will result in infinite +1/+1 counters, infinite draw, and infinite colorless mana. Lonis and Irenicus Vile Duplication, Crack Clan Ironworks, and Grinding Station will result in infinite +1/+1 counters and infinite mill. Lonis, Crack Clan Ironworks, and Cryptic Trilobite will result in infinite +1/+1 counters. Lonis, Crack Clan Ironworks, and Spike Drone will also result in infinite +1/+1 counters. Lastly, we also have some alternative win conditions. Simic Ascendancy, a 2-mana enchantment with the following abilities. Pay 1 colorless, 1 green, 1 blue, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on a creature you control, put that many growth counters on Simic Ascendancy. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Simic Ascendancy has 20 or more growth counters on it, you win the game. That will make us win the game out of nowhere, as we can put a lot of counters on our creatures in a single turn and even at instant speed. Mechanized Production, an enchantment aura that reads: enchant artifact you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of enchanted artifacts. Then, if you control 8 or more artifacts to the same name as one another, you win the game. And if you ask yourself what artifact you are going to win the game with 8 copies of, well, it's clues really. Also, with infinite mana, you can use either Urza Lord High Artificer to play all the cards from your deck, Walking Ballista and shoot everyone in the face. Like we mentioned at the start of the video, we are missing a few cards that maybe you can add to the deck, like Arcbound Ravager, 500-Year Diary, Sakashima of 1,000 Faces, and Seedborn Muse. All these cards are good and would run well in the deck. If you do run any of them in your deck, do tell us. If you want to check the deck list, we are gonna leave it on the description of the video as usual, and for more content like this, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as this helps a lot our channel. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you soon!